Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday again. I'm Dave, and this is Let's Have a Chat. It's Thursday, June 6, 2019. June 6, D-Day, 1944. 75 years ago, D-Day, the day Operation Overlord kicked off. Americans, Canadians, British, and a truckload of allies stormed the beaches at Normandy and changed the world forever. But it wasn't just them. It was the ones that came in behind them, all of them, especially one young soldier from Deep South Texas on D-Day plus 109. He came ashore and helped win the war, and well, here I am because of that. So, and countless others, but you understand what I'm saying. So with that, we're talking about leadership. Perfect day to talk about leadership. Perfect day to talk about leadership. That's leadership. And today, as you see in the show notes, it's Q&A. So I have my first question. A viewer, it comes in from a viewer, a question from a viewer, and I'm going to answer it. And folks, you're more than welcome to ask questions down below, and they'll become a topic. So if you need a little bit more detail, a little more in depth, this is for you. So again, email me, dave@daveguerra.com, or visit or on Twitter at Dave Guerra, D-A-V-E-G-U-E. And of course, right here on Facebook, you can leave down here in the comments, or on YouTube, you leave the comments, ask the question, and I will answer it. So let's get started. Today's question comes in from a viewer. Dave, are leaders born or made? Great question. Great, awesome question. Personally, my personal answer is leaders are made. Now, then there's going to be that struggle. People are always going to say, no, natural born leaders. That's why they have that. That's why they exist. No, they're not natural born. They are naturally born with the talents, the skills, the receptors, the processors. Their mind is wired immediately that way to go ahead and lead, to do what it takes to lead, to step up, to stand out in the crowd. But usually it's the environment. That where you put yourself in, that'll either make you or break you. So if you're in an environment that's always like, oh no, don't do that, what will the neighbors think? Well, guess where you're going to go? You're going to be afraid to step out of your shell. Or that's not what a young lady should be doing. Well, guess what? Where is that encouraging that young lady to step up? But on the other hand, if you're living in an environment like, you know what, you're the only one stopping yourself, you need to get out there, you can do it, we have your back. And guess what? That's encouraging. That's making progress. That's saying, hey, it's up to you to step up if you want to be the leader, or you can choose to be the follower. But there are no natural born leaders. They're just wired that way. They're wired that way from birth. We're all wired that way. We're all wired to lead. All of us. That I truly, honestly believe. It's our environment and how we react to that environment that changes our view, that changes and guides us, misdirects us, and sends us in a different place. And that's why we create these resentments. That's why we create these fears, these anxieties. That's why we do that, because we're afraid of what other people will think. And those leaders on that morning stormed the beach. All of them leaders. Those that came home, those that didn't make it home. But it took a lot of guts, a lot of courage, and something that a lot of people just don't have anymore. That willpower, that stamina, that it's got to get done or it's never going to get done. And when they stepped off those landing crafts, when they parachuted in the night before, they knew where they were going, because all they saw was bullets coming at them. They were stepping into hell, but they did it anyway. A lot of them were scared. I know, because again, it's just, you're not expecting that, but there you are. So they stepped up, and each and every one of them became leaders that moment. Then, in life, what we do, what we choose to do. Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, has a quote. It says, I am not a product of my circumstances, I am a product of my decisions. And there it is. Your circumstances is your environment, how you're raised, who raised you, who decided to be on your side, who decided to keep you down, who felt jealous, who felt envious, who was on board, who was pushing you, and who was holding you back. Those are your circumstances. But it wasn't until I joined the military that I stopped hearing and believing that what the neighbors thought really truly mattered. Because at that point, it didn't matter. You know what? They were looking to me to see what I was doing. Now, I'm not elevating myself, but I'm just saying, hey, I stepped up, I signed up, I raised my right hand, I changed, and I made a decision to change, to get myself out of that environment. And along the way, you get resistance, but again, it's usually those that were too afraid to make their own changes, that would rather blame others for their situation than to take responsibility for their situation. But again, a leader has to make a decision. So that's when the leader is made. That's how a leader is made. When they decide, hey, you know what, I'm making a change in my life, and I'm not making it because, oh, well, that's the right thing to do, or no, it's what you want to do in your mind and in your heart, and those two things have to work together. And that's how change is going to stick. So are leaders natural born leaders? No, they're not. They are a product of their environment. If they have a good, positive environment, then guess what they get to do? If they have a terrible environment, guess what they have to decide to do? Because I know great people, well, I know a lot of people that have been raised by great parents, have done great things, and have turned out not necessarily leaders, but just followers. Because they were following the crowd, because they were following everybody else. Instead of blazing their own trail, instead of being the pathfinder, instead of being the point man. That took a lot of guts. That guy that came on D-Day plus 109, that was my grandfather. And guess what? He was the point man for his unit. And he came home. That took a lot of guts. So are you the point man in your life? Are you leading yourself? That's a leader. You're deciding to get up front. Are you doing that in your life? Or are you just a follower and mingling in with the crowd because it's safer that way? Or because what will the neighbors think? Heck, they don't think anything. They're more worried about themselves. They have their own problems. So remember that. Remember that. Give the neighbors no quarter. Don't ask them, don't go to them for advice, because again, they have their own problems and they don't want yours. All they're going to use your problems as fodder to deflect for their problems. And it is that simple. That's what's always been going on. So step up, make a change, decide to change, and you don't have to be 18, 19, 13, 14. You can be 52. You can be 62. You can be 22. You make that change. You say, hey, you know what? It's time to step up. Because that is the only thing that's truly expected from you, is to be better than you were yesterday. That's all I've ever been saying. So, I hope that answered your question and then some. But again, that's truly how I feel. Leaders are not born, they're made, and they're made by themselves when they make that decision to change. Folks, as always, send me questions here in the comments section, or email dave@daveguerra.com, or on Twitter @DaveGuerra. I'm Dave. It's Thursday, June 6, 2019, D-Day plus 75 years. I thank them, I salute them, I honor them, and you should too, because they changed the world. So to everyone, thank you. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. We're going to close out this awesome week. Have a good one.